Hello, hello, good morning, everyone. It is 9:45 in the AM, and you know what that means? It's time for Java with Jen, Java with Jen, cold coffee. Java with Jen, Java with Jen. Hope yours is warmer. Let me take a little sippy sip. Yeah, coffee is just bad when it's cold. All right, for those who have never joined me before, my name is Jen Koken, and I am your favorite executive leadership coach. If you are a woman in STEM or other male dominated industries and you're looking to lead with more authority, influence, and impact, what does that mean? Lead like yourself, inspire your team. And with those two as your combo, you're going to make an impact that's going to leave your legacy. Today, I'm going to go there, people. I'm going to go there and talk about some of the some of the stories my clients have told me about things that have been said to them in meetings. And I've got some notes that I'm going to be referring to. Some of those awkward moments, the ones that I mean, the one where someone goes, you walk into a meeting, somebody looks at you and says, "Will you take notes?" That one. Or how about this one? You just introduced an idea and nobody really listened to. And a moment later, some other guy speaks up with the same idea, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, that's brilliant. That'll save the company." And my third favorite, not favorite, is man, you're so technical for someone who looks like you. You're so pretty to be that technical. Or, you're surprisingly technical for someone in your role. You're so smart for someone in your role. Yeah. I mean, these are the technical piece because I'm not in tech, but I coach women in tech and I've been in the energy industry and worked on political campaigns and was mostly the only woman in the room a lot of the time, especially moving up the ladder, right? And I wanted to address this to bring a little humor to what we got going on today because guess what? This stuff for real happens. And also start off by sharing something that's happened with me way, way, way back in the day. So when I used to go home on breaks from college, I would always work for the same temp agency because they knew they could kind of like drop me in. I could be there for 2 or 3 days, fill in for somebody. I was a smart cookie, could catch on quick. And I think you all know exactly what I'm talking about. And I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, and big insurance companies there and healthcare companies there. So this particular Christmas, and by the by, back in the day, for those that remember, as women, we were not allowed to wear pants. Mhm. We always had to wear hose, closed-toed shoes, and could not take off our jackets. We could have a dress or a skirt. The skirt had to be longer than our knees, over our knees, and either way, skirt or dress, couldn't just wear a sweater, had to always have the jacket on, and you were not allowed to take it off, at least in the industries I worked in because they were pretty buttoned up, pretty male dominated, etcetera. So I go downtown, bus, train, and I'm a little it is Cleveland in the winter, which means we got the lake effect. It's freaking cold, but there's not really snow because it's just wind blowing off the lake. So I go to take off my jacket just for a minute to like air my armpits out. You know what I'm saying? And the woman across from me, because this guy had two executive assistants, kind of looked at me and I put it back on. This man, now I was 19. It was my first experience of being sidelined. It was my first experience of someone like I wasn't even there, walks in, doesn't look at me, just says, "Coffee, 2 creams, 2 sugars now." Walks in his office, closes the door, and the other lady looks at me like, "Okay, temp, that's your job." So I go over and I have always and will continue to be a rebel. By the way, I know that doesn't shock anybody. I go in to make the coffee. I put in the 2 creams and I put in the 2 sugars and I put in 2 more sugars. And then I put in 2 more sugars. Yes, I did. And I stirred it up real good. And I walked into that man's office and put his coffee on my desk and went back to my desk. And all of a sudden I heard this, "Ew, I'm not asking you to make my coffee anymore." Ta-ting, that's right. Because that's why I did that, dude. So let me just say from the beginning that I don't think when these questions are posed to us, like the coffee thing I mean, it was so unusual for women to be in positions of power 40 years ago. Wait, I'm 60. So yeah, 40 years ago, right? Or it was very unusual to have I don't even think I ever had a female boss back then. But nowadays, when these questions are asked, would you take notes? You're surprisingly technical in your role. Repeating things, talking over us. These are not conscious behaviors. I don't believe, because I don't believe in the inherent badness of people. I think this is unconscious bias. This is brain patterning. All right. So I want to give you some tips, some tools to deal with these questions because they do come up, and then talk to you about some ways to use humor to redirect them, and then some strategies. And I wrote down all my notes because I want to make sure to get you everything. So, you know, can you take notes? Or someone repeats your idea when you've already stated it, or you're surprisingly technical in your role, you can figure out a way to deflect that, but it still sticks with us, right? We can laugh about it, but they feel anything but funny, and they can chip away at our confidence and make you wonder, do I even belong here? Spoiler alert, you do. All right. So, and they can also make us think, why do I want to put up with this? What's the point of putting up with this if this is the way it's going to be? Look, we've got to figure out a way to intervene with those brain patterns from the men around us because they don't realize they're doing it. And they don't. I promise you they don't. So let's start with humor. Someone says to you, "Can you take notes?" My favorite, "I'd love to, but my ideas are far better on the agenda than on a piece of paper." Now again, I'm a stand-up comedian, so I have a way of using humor to deflect things, and I've been doing it my whole life. People one time asked me, "How'd you learn to be so funny?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm Jewish. It's in our DNA. I don't know." So that's number 1. My agendas are far better on paper. I'm sorry, my ideas are far better on the agenda than on paper. Then there's well, actually, somebody repeats the idea you just had, only they're saying it louder. Here's the power move. Jump back in with, "Thank you for backing me up. I was just saying that." And then redirect it back to the focus you had brought previous in the meeting. "Thank you so much for saying that. Thanks for backing me up." And go back to what you said. And who can forget the compliments that aren't really compliments? Like "You're surprisingly technical for." My go-to here is humor. Someone says, "Wow, you're surprisingly technical." Shh, don't tell anyone. It's my secret weapon. Shh, I don't want anyone to know. So that's the way you can use humor. That might not come natural to you. My go-to is always humor. Might not come natural to you. Let me talk about some strategies, but let me also talk about why these moments matter for how you respond, because people are going to watch how you respond. They're annoying. They can make us lose our confidence. They can make us question ourselves, but how you respond is going to shape how others see your leadership. And 93% of what we communicate is nonverbal. So your response in these moments will dictate how respected you are and how much confidence people have in your ability to lead. And it's not just about that one meeting or moment, it's about setting the tone for your leadership throughout your career. So let's talk about how to handle these moments like a boss, okay? 3 quick strategies. First, redirect the conversation. When someone says, "Hey, would you mind taking notes?" Come back with, "You know what? Yes, we should definitely assign note taking to somebody because I've got some strategies and I want to focus on that during this meeting." Okay. That again underscores your expertise in the area. Okay. Second, own the room. So, number 1, redirect the conversation. Second, own the room. If someone repeats your idea, take control of the moment. "Thank you so much for reiterating my idea. Let me explain what I meant by that." Not only does that take your idea back, it then also tells people that you have authority in this area and you are underscoring your authority. So, number 1, redirect. Number 2, own the room. And third, diffuse with humor. Like I said, that's my go-to. Someone hits you with one of those backhanded compliments, laugh and say, "Wow, you're right. I'm full of surprises. I'm just full of surprises." then immediately pivot back to your expertise. Humor has a way of diffusing your own amygdala hijack in that moment because when somebody says something like that, that is completely unconscious, it is hard not to shrink like a wallflower. I will give you 2 examples in my own life. I gave you an example before, but I'll give you 2 more examples. I was sitting in a meeting where, they were basically shutting down a major program that I had been at work on because the funding ran out. And so all the hard work people were putting together, and they were also downsizing the company, and I had already been given that information earlier that day. And so I knew I had to be back for this all staff meeting. I went out and got my hair done. So I used to color my hair. I was like, well, I needed a minute to figure out what I was going to do. I needed to like get my moment back. So we're in this meeting and the president is announcing, and he's clearly uncomfortable. He clearly doesn't want to do this, but they have to do it for budgetary reasons, announcing all these layoffs, and people are stunned and people are upset and people are starting to say things. And people were looking at me because it was my project that they had shut down and kind of looking at me for where's the leadership. And I said, let me just interrupt everybody. I said, here's the thing. We can harp on what was just said and look at the negative, and we've got to process that ourselves. But if we start to denigrate the work we've already put into this, we are doing ourselves a disservice. And I don't think anybody who's going to continue to work here would want us to denigrate the good work we've been doing or to downplay it. So for right now, let's focus on the positive, and then each one of us has to figure out how to handle being let go. And later on, the vice president came to me and he said, once again, you handled a really tough situation with grace. It's something I'm known for. I mean, I'm known for being very direct and kind, but also handling really, really strenuous situations with grace. I had another one, but I don't remember it. So it doesn't matter. I want to keep this short because I know you got a busy day. So, 3 things: redirect, own the room, use humor. Those are the quick tips. Here's what I want you to know. I'm launching a program February 5th called the Executive Presence Accelerator. It is a 12-week curriculum to allow you to go from feeling sidelined to owning the room. We will be doing a module on dealing with unconscious bias. We will be doing a module on communication. We will be doing a module on navigating power dynamics. You want to be in this program. I'll only be offering it twice a year. You can go to my website and find out more. I'll also put the link down below, but I wanted to make sure you knew about it because these situations we're dealing with are real, and it's things I've been coaching my clients on one-on-one for a long time. And I finally said, you know what? I need to get to more people. Let me create this curriculum. So it's a 12-week program, 90-day transformation, go from sidelined to owning the room. So I want you to tell me, what is the funniest or most frustrating thing you've ever heard in a meeting? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you're really ready to turn awkward moments into career defining wins, let's chat. I'd love to help you level up your leadership game. Thanks for joining me this morning on Java with Jen, Java with Jen, Java with Jen, Java with Jen. And I also look forward to your comments below, and I look